So lads, today we're going to be talking about something that I think was shown last night. I've actually got no idea. I've legitimately got no idea when this was. I think it was last night, but I've had this bookmarked since yesterday to make this a video, and obviously, I think it's a big one. So there's been a couple of players that have very much been big for as far as like quote unquote Caitlin Clark rivals. There's been a few of them. And by the way, like Natasha Cloud has never, as far as I'm aware, said a negative thing about Caitlin Clark. The closest thing she's ever said negative about Caitlin Clark was liking the Mystics owner saying that Caitlin Clark shouldn't have been on the Time magazine cover, that it should have been the entire WNBA. But like, if we're being honest, like I can guarantee you that there were more people. And also, in fairness, she did actually like the post saying it was unsafe for Angel to play in Chicago. So maybe the opinions on Natasha Cloud changed for that. But her direct opinions with Caitlin have never been bad. There's never been bad direct opinions. But today she talked a little bit about Caitlin, and this is something that I wanted to talk about yesterday because it backed up a lot of my points that I've said. Caitlin Clark scares the bejesus out of other teams, and that's the thing. That is her biggest thing. I've always said this, where it's like Caitlin Clark's gravity is almost as good as Caitlin Clark the player. So here's what Natasha Cloud has said about Caitlin Clark, but the toughest part of guarding her. Let's take a listen.
Is literally when she crosses half court, she can shoot that shit. Yeah. Right now.
And look, she obviously is trying not to talk too much about Caitlin. It's her stream. That's just a 7 second long. That's a 7 second long clip, but like, you've got somebody who was all talk, who was making sure that she was very much heard. She was making sure that she was heard about the whole, Caitlin shoots when she goes left, she drives when she goes right, after the last time they played. And we can be honest. Well, yeah, that's obvious. It is obvious that Caitlin Clark likes to shoot going left and drive going right, just like the majority of right-handed shooters. Caitlin Clark, by the way, is worse for that than a lot of right-handed shooters. But like, Michael Jordan. I remember Michael Jordan coming out and saying, I would have stopped LeBron James because I know he wants to shoot going left and drive going right. And then like a week later, LeBron James won a game by driving going left on Paul George because he expected the jump shot. I'm like, madness. Absolute madness. And it is so funny. It is absolutely so funny. Like, I'm looking at this and I'm seeing people saying Natasha Cloud is actually, in fact, better than Caitlin Clark. Better than Caitlin Clark. Apparently Skylar Diggins is better, according to some people. But yeah, it's like, this is obviously a post from yesterday from this Twitter account right here, sharing it. She was asked what the hardest part of guarding Caitlin Clark is, and like, she's not wrong. She's not wrong, and like, I always think that for these players, the hardest thing about guarding Caitlin, I think Paige said it the best, and this was like Paige saying this back when it was cool, when it wasn't cool to hate Caitlin Clark, because by the way, if you guys don't understand, Caitlin, people were saying, Paige Bueckers was universally loved. No, Paige had more haters than Caitlin until April the 1st, 2023. And the reason why Caitlin Clark has haters is, I kid you not, because she got taunted. She played a basketball game, she lost the basketball game, and her opponent ran up in front of her and started doing this, and then after the game got on Instagram Live, when you couldn't even argue, it was the heat of the moment, like, it was what it was, got on Instagram Live, and instead of celebrating with her teammates, took the championship trophy and goes, "This one's for you, Caitlin Clark. This is for you, Caitlin Clark," before saying anything else. The first thing she said. That is why Caitlin Clark is hated. It's hilarious. It is actually hilarious. And these are the same people that are like, Caitlin Clark, we don't hate Caitlin Clark, we just hate her fans. No, they hate her. They hate her because she dared to get taunted. She dared to be better than everyone in the league, bar Fee and maybe Aja. But it was funny. What Paige said was right. And it's like, you cannot let Caitlin Clark dominate you you cannot let Caitlin Clark, basically, you can't let Caitlin Clark dominate the game. Like, she can pass and she can score, but if you let her do both, you let her control the game. And if Caitlin Clark basically, she didn't say these words, but the way she implied was that when Caitlin Clark controls the game, you can't stop her. You can't stop that. And you can try stop her score or you can try stop her pass. But if you allow her to do both, which is controlling every aspect of the offensive game, you're going to lose. You're going to lose more often than not if you let Caitlin Clark control the game. And Tash Cloud did it. And that's the thing. If you guys have seen Tash Cloud, there's a viral clip last year. And this is one of the big things with her is that there was a clip of she's guarding Aaliyah Boston in the fast break, and it's a 2-on-1 fast break. I don't know how it happened in this scenario, but Aaliyah Boston is at the free throw line. Natasha Cloud is guarding Aaliyah Boston at the free throw line, and Caitlin Clark's dribbling up the floor with nobody on her, looking like she's going to pull from 30. And Natasha Cloud sprints off to Caitlin Clark and gives up a wide open layup for Aaliyah Boston. She ran Caitlin Clark off the three-point line from 30 feet away rather than giving Aaliyah Boston, or she would rather run that off than leave her open if it meant giving up a layup. That is just a factual statement about Natasha Cloud, and I think she's done a decent enough job of. She's guarded Caitlin very little in the last 2 years. I thought she did a terrible job yesterday guarding her, even when she was on the floor. I thought she did a really, really bad job on Caitlin Clark, if we're being honest. But at the end of the day, I thought she did a good job down the stretch, just by hugging Caitlin, by hacking Caitlin, knowing the refs were going to let her hack Caitlin down the stretch. She did a good job at that the first time against New York, and Caitlin was just missing wide open shots the first time they played. So yeah, it's all around a not bad thing, because look, this is a person who's well respected in league circles. This is a person who is one of the better defenders in the WNBA, and this is a person that a lot of WNBA media prior to Caitlin Clark being drafted were saying that Caitlin was going to get locked down by her. Caitlin was going to get locked down by Natasha Cloud. Like that was a thing. That was a thing that a lot of the media said. Like if you listen to Cindy Brunson, actually it was something that I'm not joking. I think Ken Swift shared it last week, and it was Cindy Brunson before Caitlin Clark came into the WNBA, and it was basically him talking about it was basically Cindy Brunson, he shared it, talking about how Caitlin was going to really struggle to shoot from 30 feet because they were like, they're going to guard her out at 30 feet. And I was like, they're going to be able to stop her at 30 feet. And the reason why you can't stop her at 30 feet because if you guard her out there, you just get burned and it spaces the entire floor in a 4v4 situation. But there are people that don't know anything about basketball talking about that. And she did also mention, she goes, Satu Sabali is going to be able to lock down Caitlin, one of the worst defenders in the W. But also, the other player mentioned was Natasha Cloud as this lengthy point guard, and even Nate Tibbetts started Natasha Cloud on Aaliyah Boston the last time they played, just so that Natasha Cloud, just so that they could switch the CCAB pick and roll. So, look, this is one of the most respected defenders saying there she has to guard her from 30, and if you're Natasha Cloud, if you know anything about how Natasha Cloud's guarded Caitlin, you know she has tried to guard Caitlin from 30. But anyway, I'll see you guys.